What's up guys, this is Sean and welcome back to the iherng podcast, and today this episode is brought to you by Nash. So ever since I moved into this particular home, the first thing I installed was the furnishing. Then immediately we need to address clean water and clean air and clean floor. I installed the water filter, the indoor one, the outdoor one. I'm using the mini air purifier, the big air purifier, but you guys gotta really check out the one where you can install in the yard space of your condo. So even your service apartment, yeah, we all have space issue, right? No problem, they can help solve it by having a smaller size outdoor filter. So go check it out, use the promo code below. And today we will answer a question from KP. Hi Sean, thank you for your great educational videos about property investment. I enjoyed it very much. Please keep up the good work in sharing your knowledge while educating the younger generation. Bravo to you. Just to introduce myself, my name is KP. I'm 59 years old, Malaysian and Singapore PR. Working in Singapore since I graduated from university about 35 years ago. I consider myself lucky to learn early in life about the leveraging advantage of property investment to wealth, which means to use other people's time and money to build equity. Now, at 59, I own a total of 10 fully paid condos, 3 in Singapore and 7 in Penang, with zero debt. Thanks to my tenants all these years who paid down the loans for me, I am currently planning to retire in Penang in 2 to 3 years time since I still enjoy my job in Singapore. Once retired, I could just continue to collect rental incomes, which is way more than my expenses, and enjoy my retirement years. Sounds like a dream come true, right? Or at least this is what I have been planning since I started the property investing journey. Strangely, now I am considering if I should sell some or even all of my properties, especially in Penang. Here are the reasons why. Number one, all of my condos have at least doubled, some even tripled in market value thanks to inflation. Capital gain wise is not so bad. However, rental yield is very low, especially in Penang. As you may know, rental yield in Penang is about 3 to 4% only. It never really went up throughout the years, even though the property price have gone up quite a fair bit. Number two, as I bought these properties many years ago, some are getting older and older, many are more than 20 years already. As such, they are getting harder and harder to find good tenants. Most people like to stay in newer condos, right? Number three, since I will be retiring soon, why not sell some or all of these properties and put the cash in bank's FD, which some are even higher than rental yield, and save the headache of managing difficult tenants in my retirement years. Number four, I know there is a danger of inflation eating up the purchasing power if I stay idle in the bank, but I could use this cash to invest in some other hard assets like precious metal and stocks, which potentially give me a higher ROI. What would you do if you were in my situation? Regards, KP. Bro, KP, well done lah. You are the goal. You have achieved the ultimate finishing line for many of us within the channel. Thank you for sharing, man. So at 59, this gentleman, I assume KP, tak tahu lah, KP, Malaysian working in Singapore, owns 10 property, 3 in Singapore, 7 in Penang, and all fully paid. Then now he is thinking about whether to sell some of the properties when he decides to retire in Penang. Retire in Penang, awesome. Great choice. Personally, I also don't mind retiring there. I'm debating if I were to go up north and retire, right? It's between Ipoh, Taiping, or Penang actually. But Penang things now, price also not getting cheap, right? And it's getting congested in the island. So that's something to think about, but you are from Penang, so I guess it's okay. And his arguments of why he wants to sell all are very, very sensible to me, which I also got a question for my live session. What would be the ultimate exit strategy as property investors, right? So to me, initially, before building to this level of portfolio, I thought I would just pass down everything to my next generation, right? The best thing is not to sell, but just to refinance or cash out. It means every 5 years, I will open up my portfolio and I will withdraw whatever equity built within. But then when I die, insurance will cover the rest. So I have no issue, so I just spend money on debts first, and those are debt not really taxable. That will be the first strategy, right? But the strategy kind of changed when we have this brand new rule of refinancing in Malaysia. Maximum you can take out 100,000 only, or if not, based on 10 years loan tenure calculation. That kind of changed the game plan a lot. because what we used to do as property investors is to withdraw out equities from the earlier properties within the portfolio to finance newer ones. But now it's limited, and I guess that is the intention of the government to kind of stop all this. If not, investors keep buying, right? Then genuine owners cannot afford to buy a house. So I respect that, but there are still a lot of ways to buy properties lah. Then as I build further, there's this thought actually. Last time the goal was 25 properties. But as I build further, the goal should not be tied to the number of properties. The goal should be tied whether the portfolio is making money or not. No point having 10, 12, 15 properties that all lose money, all negative cash flow, all rental cannot cover installment. But I can walk around and tell people I got 12 to 15 properties. Actually, nobody care one. Okay, so all investors will agree to me you go through all the hassle, right, and actually nobody cares how many properties you got one. On the other hand, what would make more sense is to tighten our filtering system in making sure we get money making properties instead. So it means it's better for me to get 5 properties which is making about 5,000 positive cash flow after all the rent minus all the installment, compared to a 12 property portfolio that is all bleeding every single month. Technically, if you tell everybody, right, wow, especially of people who speaks a lot on stage or trying to recruit people for their agency and things like that, wow, owns 10 property by year 35 lah, own 40 by years 50, whatever lah, right? It's good achievement. It only showcases your ability to get loan. From a property investment point of view, not really that great. As you can share the ROI of your property and the cash flow of your property. This is where KP then excels. Okay, the 7 property he shared, some of them double, if not triple, I assume, for the past 10-20 years. And everybody within this very negative moment of today thinking that crazy man, Sean, where got property price double man? My 500,000 property, you think 1 million in the future of 20 years man? Bo Korean one, impossible. That is also partially why I'm still very bullish on the property, because there's still this negative perception towards the stigma of property investment in Malaysia. For the past 10-20 years, right, our market has not been very good lah. Ever since 2015, which is technically the last bull run. Now it's 2026, 15 years later, we haven't even recovered in terms of launching numbers. We haven't even recovered in absorption rates and things like that. But if you look into the completion of infrastructure, transportation, policy, stability of the country and things like that, we are heading the right direction. So we will see lah. And within that time frame, KP here has made a lot of money. Wow. And here there's something that he didn't say lah. Within the email, right, he mentioned that he wants to sell all the properties within Penang, which I agree actually. Maybe just keep one. I would slowly sell out. So the strategy is this. There's something that you need to take note of. Yes, they are residential properties, I assume. There will be RPGT tax, which is the real property gain tax. Any properties within 5 years of selling from the SPA date, you will need to declare tax. So this one change in accordance to the budget every single year. However, many may argue that as long as I sell one passing the RPGT tenure, I am fine. Technically, you are right. But when you start selling too many properties, the Income Revenue Board, which is our income tax department, come and ask for clarification, ask for a coffee session, because now it's as if you are doing this as a business. So that will be the risk. And we have friends within the community that kena before. They got this and they are smacked, not by the 5%, 10% RPGT, they are smacked with business tax. A better example is this. So there's a friend who is a car fanatic. He buys very old junk. To me, it's junk, right? I don't like cars, right? But to him, it's a golden opportunity. He find and source parts all around the world to slowly fix. It's a Mercedes lah. I don't know what is it lah. Some SL 350, something like that lah. Then he fix up. Then when he sell, price actually double. Solid lah, right? So he did one a year and he found out, I can actually make money from my passion. Then he start repeating this process. Suddenly, this process became a business. Because you are very good at it, the repetition of such activities generating income to you, it's called a business. Just like property, when your property investment buy sell becomes a business, they will come in for business tax instead. This is why whenever we speak to seasoned property investors about RBGT, right? Hiya, tax a bit gift lah. Rental income tax, just pay lah. That one sio kwa taiji, meaning small matter only. The real serious deal is business tax on the investment. So that is the only note that I want you to be worried of. So don't suddenly sell all, pace yourself in selling. So there's this unwritten rule about every 2 years sell one. Unwritten one, and there's no confirmation, no written format of this clause, but from the community, every 2 years sell one, then you will be fine. Which leads to my exit strategy. If I were to own 20 properties using 20 years, 1 year buy one, then every 2 years I sell one, right? I need to live until 60, and that's assuming I start buying when I'm a baby. That's why there are some concepts that I'm toying with also, which is like to build a company, which is I have a media company, so I start parking my assets into the company instead. Instead of giving my son the real property, I might just give him the designation of a director when he's 18, so he owns shares of the company, which includes the property already. So those are some mechanisms that I'm exploring right now. When it's confirmed, I will share with you guys. But those are the corporate tax law side of things really lah. But from a personal point of view, like I have a kid and I want to pass down some wealth to him. Something that we need to decide ourselves as investors is how much we want to pass down. I assume if you are alone, then don't need to pass down, alright? Liquidate everything. Keep the 3 Singapore one for cash flow purposes and enjoy life. Just enjoy life, man. And okay, a lot of people don't understand, why the Singapore one don't want to sell? It's only going to go up. That's why a lot of people who are actually looking into JB properties right now, a lot of Malaysians who are working, earning Sing dollar every day, traveling through the borders, it's very sunfu. The greed is real, I do understand, but something to really think about is whether you want to qualify as a PR or a citizen to embark onto the HDB route. Okay, so there's this rule where you cannot own any properties before owning a HDB. This one you need to be very, very strict, and this is updated almost every year. That's why I cannot keep up lah, right? I'm the wrong guy to advise you on this. But after MOP, which is the minimum occupancy period for all the properties, right? Let's say per room is about 1,000 Sing dollar on average. KP here got 3 unit, assuming all 3 bedroom. Then you got 9 rooms, which is 9,000 Sing dollar, plus minus a bit, 8,000 Sing dollar. Times over, you are 24 to 25,000 ringgit income earner leh. And in Malaysia, you can live like a king. 25,000, you live like a king in Penang. You can drive your vintage car, wear your vintage watch, do whatever you want. Every single month, money still coming. So that is the benefit of property investment. Okay, so let's rewind a little bit. We all start from the very first property. And what's the intention of it? Minimal capital outlay while leveraging on other people's time, other people's resources, which is money, time, and their energy. It's very easy to get into the picture and looking into stats saying that it's terrible. You put your money into equity, you put your money into stocks, you put your money into AIs or whatever, right? It's way better than putting your money into a property. 100% correct. So now the debate is, we built property investment portfolios using our credit, which is our ability, our income slip, get the bank loan and let it roll. Meanwhile, for the capital that we have on hand, invest in whatever that you think will make money. Then 20, 30 years later, the equity built within is something that you can call yours. Imagine if you were to rent, nothing belongs to you. And hopefully, by renting at the same time, you got invest in every other things lah, right? A lot of people just excuse, I want to rent so I have the disposable income to enjoy life. That one then susah. Memang susah lah. So now, I agree, where KP is thinking about liquidating the property so that they can put the capital into other form of assets. And I agree also, at 60, right, you don't have to take so much risk. You can just put FD, put some blue chip, right? And every month with that 20 over 1,000 income, nothing to worry already, man. Seriously, nothing to worry already. The only thing to worry is when we get this amount of money. For the untrained person, it will be very itchy. You want to go vacation, you want to go all the first class, all the luxury, all the sports car and whatsoever, right? To me, it's all okay one. You will not go bankrupt from there. It's only when people start to have that entrepreneurial itch. I want to start doing business. I got the money, I got like 5 million in the bank. Suddenly a relative or a friend wants to open a cafe, want to join venture, they need capital, let me help out. This kind of thing. Once you start business, that is one of the wealth killer actually. Second will be gambling. If you start gambling, how much also tak cukup one. But looking at your portfolio, looking at your profile, I think you got it already, KP, and you are such an inspiration. You are the end goal. Suddenly, like now, you should be on stage giving talks, man. Like with 10 property and 0 debt, that is really something to think about. But to me, I will have a very different route. I just shared earlier, right? I will choose the path of refinancing at least some of it out, because our properties in KL is not like Singapore. That one is golden ticket to your millionaire journey. But here we have very innovative financial schemes where we can own property with 0 capital upfront. Some even by buying a properties, we can cash out money so we can roll with the debt instead. And this is such a fresh air of positivity, it's like mint like that. Because throughout the years, everyone has been sharing stories, horror stories about how their property suffer lah, how they try to buy a lot and all messed up lah, rental cannot cover installment, then now auction pun, nobody want to buy, things like that, all the mistakes, all trying to earn fast money. When you try to earn fast money with property, which is meant to be a very long-term game, you will get into trouble. So KP, welcome to Malaysia, welcome to Penang. You can start thinking about whether you want to go to Batu Ferringhi, you want to go to Tanjung Bunga or Tanjung Tokong side, also not bad. But there's one thing also before I forget, I want to talk about, right? Old condos, usually the rental will not be as fast because as mentioned, right, some are more than 20 years old already, not very easy to find good tenants. When's the last time you updated the ID? That will be one argument, but generally that rule is true. But it still boils down to location. So as a property investor, a multiple property owner in Penang, something to look at will be the brand new LRT route. If I'm you, my plan is to overlay that LRT route against my property portfolio, the locations of my property. So that determines which one I should let go first, which one I should let go last. Okay, if there's 1 or 2 properties within that 7 that is very close to an upcoming station, I will hold it first until the station is completed, only I sell lah. That would be better because technically if the LRT is ready, rental rate assuming go up or becomes healthy again, then only you sell, you will earn more. But being away from LRT stations, not necessarily it's bad too, because there will be people like me, like I don't want or I refuse to stay close to any public transportation one. I prioritize peace of mind, I prioritize serenity, I prioritize privacy. So that's why I'm paying a premium to actually stay away from public transportations. Personally, I don't need or I don't use the public transportation. But as mentioned in your plans, maybe you want to do that first and you start planning. If the LRT is completed, then you start monitoring the price, because now with this brand new infrastructure that has been discussed for the past 40-50 years, right, finally is in action. And it will create a lot of hype for properties in Penang. There will be a lot of brand new townships, and with the explosion of our chip manufacturer, where Penang players is a big part of the industry, right, Penang properties will do very, very well. And in your case, KP, is only to determine how much more you want to earn. Earn money, sure, earn already one ma. Just to see how much more only lah. And I guess that's all for today. Thank you very much for sharing such an inspiration, and this will become the winning story for a lot of us within the channel, because sometimes within the first 3 to 5 years, right, I put out so much money for renovation already, then my first 2 tenants all cannot make it one. By year 3 only, my property starts making money or even breaking even only. Where's the end goal? This will be our end goal. And I guess that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching. For those who still have any questions regarding me, let's say, do just email me at TANIHERNG, and I will see you guys on the next one. Ciao.